Hey, Design One. Um, what the remote students are going to be doing this week, and what the students in-house are doing this week, is a second collage project. This one is much more independent, and it's actually based on your choice of four different artists. Um, but before we actually do that, I just want to remind you that we have that project from last week that's due, and that project is to not only go through first there's a slideshow um, that a Google slide that I shared on Schoology. I'll actually pull that up here real quick. On Schoology, we have the remote learners, and it's the week 5. This will be week 6 instruction that I'm recording right now. But there's this composition activity, and the week prior I uploaded a video or 2 videos talking about composition and different tools you can use for it. And then your homework was to go through this slideshow here, and you're actually going to upload photos of composition practice you've done. So if I go through here, it kind of has instructions here at the front, guidelines for what you're doing, and I also did examples of Mr. Leduc. And through here, he went in and he just used Collage and laid out different compositions using these different tools, like rule of thirds, just an example of him using rule of thirds. So I want you guys to go through. I made one for each student here. And you'll just go through and just plug in an image for each of these compositional tools. So I still want you to do that. It should be done by the time I'm uploading this video. I'll give you till like the end of day to try and get this turned in. But it's really important to try and get these done here. And we do accept late work, so if you have anything outstanding still, please get it turned in. But moving forward, what we're working on next is a collage artist research project. So this is the list of these 4 artists. And I'll actually include these in, there's a research form that I'll have on Schoology for you guys. And that form kind of walks you through what information you're trying to look for with the research. I say research, it's pretty basic stuff. It should take you maybe half an hour to go through and do this research. But I'm wanting you to look into these artists. I'm going to kind of talk to you about some really basic information about them. You'll pick one to go with, and once you pick one artist, you'll look into that artist, fill out the research page. And once you have that filled out and have some basic understanding of the artists and their work and why they're important, you'll take that information to work on a trading card based on their work. Similar to that Keith Haring project we did, where you did these thumbnails based on Keith Haring and created a finished work kind of inspired by his work, but you still make it your own. It'll be that same kind of feel, except this one's going to be really open-ended with the materials you use. It's really up to you. First artist we're talking about here is Romari Bearden. He's an African-American artist, and I'm not going to give you a lot of information about these people. It's really up to you to do it. But he uses collage, and like in this example here, he's using collage, but he's also taking it further. There's many ways you can interpret his work to make it your own, but just an example of something you could do is use collage and then to make the basic composition. And remember, you want to be thinking about composition tools when you're doing this. But yeah, use collage to get a basic composition and then push it further with, like, you could use colored pencils or charcoal and pencil or a combination of all those things to push things further in certain areas. It'd be a really good way of doing it. The next artist I'm talking about here, this is Hiroshige. This is the only artist of the 4 that actually never worked with collage whatsoever. He's a Japanese printmaker. He actually designed these prints that were created. This on the left is kind of a photo of an artist's work that created this piece in memory of him because he worked before photography existed. But on the right here is one of his prints, and just looking at his style, a lot of his work is based on landscape, but he really flattens out space and stacks it up on itself like this. And it'd be really easy to take a piece like this and turn it into a collage-based work. Really like this Japanese ukiyo-e printmakers like this. His work is incredible, and I think it'd be a lot of fun to take on the challenge of turning something like this into a collage work. And even looking at how they're titled and the artist signature is done in these areas, it'd be really interesting kind of take on doing something similar. Your own twist on it with collage. Next artist is Kara Walker. She's a contemporary artist still working today. Her work is incredible, and she works with silhouettes for the most part. With these works, she uses a lot of great detail with describing the outside edges of things. So if you took on her process here, one take on it could be going in with a lot of detail and creating like the projects where we did those blind contour drawings, how your eye just really slowly moves around the edge of things, capturing all the details. You'd want to have that kind of approach with getting really detailed with the figures or whatever you do. And maybe use like photo reference and stuff like that to really get a lot of detail. She works with silhouettes, so you could work on black paper on white paper, but it's totally up to interpretation, whatever you want to do. The final artist here is Hannah Hoch. She's a German artist, and she was one of the very first artists to work with collage, just as a whole. She kind of pioneered this medium of cutting paper and layering it in this way. But her work is very figurative. So is Kara Walker's work, but uses a lot of muted colors. And for this one, you could have a lot of fun, like distorting proportions, using like here there's like different size eyes, which are really interesting. Yeah, you can have a lot of fun with her work as well. But choose any of these four. As you're developing your works, with the only exception may be Hiroshige, but all three others, you want to think about like person, place, and thing. And all three of these artists, they really think or focus a great deal on the person, but in all these cases, there's also like a place and a thing involved in their work. Something to kind of help you develop ideas. But once you finish your research, you're really free to develop your process in whatever way is natural for you. If you want to start in your sketchbook and just write down information about the artist or information about their artwork and then develop that into like comps or thumbnails, or you can start right in with thumbnails, or you can start right in with cutting up magazines and gathering materials and just messing around with layering them in different ways on your trading card. I'm kind of going to show you some of the materials that we used here in class, just to give you an idea. Like here is a recycling bin, and these are all like the scraps from the composition activity we did last week. Here's a bunch of just magazines, and these can be really great if you're working with like the Hannah Hoch, her artwork. Really, you could easily do that type of work out of magazine clippings and stuff of that sort. You can also use newspaper clippings, or if you're going with Kara Walker's work, you could easily use just like black construction paper. But the adhesive we were using was rubber cement in class, but you can use whatever you've got for an adhesive. And you really have to, you at-home learners here, your remote learners, have an interesting challenge of really finding materials on your own. And at first, it can seem difficult, but really, I think you guys have this opportunity to make such unique work, because it's really whatever you have around you in your home. You can find magazines or newspapers, or if you have black spray paint, you can spray paint a paper black and then cut into that, and then you collage that. It's whatever you've got. the only stipulations are this project has to be inspired by one of these 4 artists, and it's your choice of which artist. Do the research, create a work of art inspired by them, and then it has to have collage involved in the creation. So you have to use collage elements in some way, but what you do beyond that is totally up to you. You can go in with pens and pencils and charcoal and paint and whatever you want beyond collage to really make it your own and develop it. And you just would choose one of these 4 artists. So at the time I'm uploading this video, I'll also be uploading that research form for you guys to fill out. It'll be on Schoology in the same folder that this is uploaded in. So fill out that form, pick one of the artists, fill out that form, and then create a finished work. And that'll be due a week from today, so next Wednesday. If you guys have any questions, I feel so detached from the remote students, but if you have any questions at all, email Mr. Leduc, and what emails he gets, he forwards to me, so I'll get them as well. And we can work with you through whatever. If you're lacking materials, we can work something out to get you some materials, whatever you guys need to get this project done, okay? Good luck with everything. I'll see you next week. So, yeah, have a good one.